Hey there, welcome to Drew Bentley Guitar. Today we're going to take a look at how to play the blues with arpeggios. You might feel like your pentatonic scale is lacking, and there's definitely a reason for that. This might be like the next level. Let's go ahead and dive in. With this lesson, we're going to play over the chords of the blues and get right inside of them. We'll be playing arpeggios over the chords, using passing tones to connect the chords, and something called guide tones to connect the chords chromatically. It's a great formula. We're playing a dominant 7th blues, starting on A7 right now, then we'll go to E7 later. So A7 is our 1 chord, D7 is the 4 chord, and then E7 is going to be the 5 chord. So it's 1, 4, 5, 1. And we're going to be doing a fast change blues, which means we go to the 4 chord in the second measure. You'll hear that. So what I want to do is start to connect arpeggios together and play the blues with chords, and we'll see how that works really well over dominant 7th chords, and I'll show you why. So the first arpeggio is this. It looks like an F chord kind of shape we've always played. It's a root, a third, a fifth, and a flat 7. That's the first chord we'll be looking at. The second one is this D7 chord. It's a root, a third, a fifth, and a flat 7 here. So we have this, and this. If you go back to the 4 chord, the 5 chord E7 is right here. Do the exact same shape you did for D7. And back to 1. And then 5. So if I play through that as a 12-bar blues, it sounds like this. Doesn't sound like music yet, but you're getting the idea here. So what we're going to do next is connect these together. If I play this chord, this is the root, that's the third, that's the fifth, and that's the 7. We want to use something called guide tones to connect together. So this is the 7th of the chord, it's the octave of this G. And that's the third, 7th, and third. If I look at the D7 chord, root, third, fifth, 7th, this is the third, and that's the 7th. Root, third, fifth, 7th, so the 7th and the 3rd here, for the A7 chord, looks like that. Here, that's the 3rd and the 7th here. So this really neat thing happens where the guide tones move chromatically from here for the 1 chord to here for the 4 chord. Whoa, that's like magic, huh? Back to the 1 chord. If I go 1 fret higher, I land on the guide tones for E7. Those look like this. Root, 3rd, 5th, flat 7. There they are, the 3rd and the 7th again. So I have A7 in the middle, D7 here, A7 is here, E7 is here. And why does this matter? Well, we're going to connect those together to make the chord changes happen. And we're also going to use passing tones. So if I go like this, watch how I did that. Slid down a half step into the 3rd of that chord. So it's okay, so that sounds different than the pentatonic scale. And I mentioned at the beginning of the video that there's a problem with that. And the problem is the pentatonic scale has a flat 3rd, but the arpeggio has a major 3rd. So this is pentatonic, this is the dominant chord. Now there's other approaches to go to tackle that problem. Look for a video on the channel called The Most Important Note in the Blues, and I go into some great detail of some strategies I have to accomplish that sound, infusing the pentatonic scale with the chord together. Kind of a chord scale concept. Today we're playing arpeggios. So now, put the track on, it's going to sound like this. Now watch this. What I just did there was I used that guide tone principle to slide from the D7 chord right back into my A7 chord again. So that looks like this. You guessed it. Right back into this chord again. There's A7. Now guess what? I'm going to slide into E9 now for the 5 chord. Slide back down to the 4 chord, to the 1 chord, to the 5 chord. So there's a lot of magic happening there. I'm going to do that over the backing track. So I can use that principle for all of this stuff I'm doing. So the idea now for the first 3 arpeggios is to create something musical. And we're staying within 1 octave right now to keep things simple. Of course, you can expand upon this across the entire guitar neck and open up everything. This works across everything. There are 10 dominant 7th arpeggio forms that I have in my system. These hybrid arpeggio forms that you can play across the entire guitar neck and connect these together everywhere. And then you're free to play everywhere with this approach. Of course, you can always do different approaches as well. There's plenty of other approaches. You can play pentatonic scales only to play over the blues. You can also do the thing I was talking about where you kind of blend the pentatonic scale with the chords together and do that sort of thing. But right now we're just focusing on these arpeggios. So I'm going to play over the 12-bar blues and just stay in this octave. Now that sounds a lot different than pentatonic, doesn't it? So now, once we get good at this, what if we try this the next grouping up, and we'll play on these strings instead. We'll play the A7 chord here. Let's go ahead and do this D7 chord like this. This time we're starting the same chords, kind of a fret higher, I suppose. And we'll do the same E7 chord. Take it a little further. Here's A7. Here's D7. Here's E7. Back to A7. So we can utilize this in a different position. Again, there's lots of places to play it. So if I play A7 right here, here's the D7 chord. As a fixed form, I can play out of those notes. Here's the E7 chord. D7, A7. So that might be something like this. So I'm kind of utilizing both of those positions together, but I'm playing the blues, but I'm connecting everything together with these guide tones. So up top here, here's our guide tones. This is the A7 chord, which is played. The guide tones are right here. Here's the D7 chord. Looks like A7 down here in the cadence system like this, but up here, and there's the guide tones. And then back to A7, here's the guide tones. E7, the guide tones are this A form here. Back to the D form. And then the E form, I suppose, of A. And then this chord. So I can go just like I could go here. All the guide tones are moving. And then I'm connecting it together with these passing tones. So appoggiatura, like a neighboring tone. So if I go, so I went up, slide down. So you can hear me slide into this next note. All these neighboring tones. Here it is again. This is a tritone up here. That's the next level. This level was like this. These two notes. Those tritones, guide tones. These guide tones. Now I have this. There's A7 up here. If I go right here to D7, and here's E7. So I can play the blues up there. And it's really handy because you can always reach for a sound you're looking for. So if I'm playing this, I know I can trust that I can slide down to get into my next chord to slide back up again, to get into the next chord that way. So I can always kind of trust that I'm going to go to the next guide tone. All of this stuff has everything to do with diminished chords and this whole diminished sort of magic that happens with music, and that's for a different lesson. Something called the Parker cycle, which is really cool for a different lesson. But right now we're trying to play the blues and sort of find another approach that's not standard pentatonic scales, because you'll find that doesn't always work. If you're playing over a lot of songs, it sounds like a bull in a china shop. So for pentatonic scale, it works really well for a power chord thing. That sort of thing. Great for pentatonic scale. It's perfect. Okay, it's great for that. It's great for minor blues. Anything minor, it's perfect for that. It's also, ironically, great for ninth chords. Slow blues with ninth chords. Seems to work just fine for that. But when you get to this dominant seventh chord, now we have this clash. So there's the seventh chord we can use to sort of fix that. Now we're going to do this in the key of E as a slow blues using the same exact chord forms. Here's my E7 chord right here. A7 looks like this. And B7 looks like this. Back to E7. Playing it in 2 octaves. Here's E7. A7. B7. So if I play this E7 chord here, moving right through chromatically to A7. Slide right into, back into E7 again. So if I end up here, I can go. Or could have gone up. For the A7 chord up here. You should also learn to play these as fixed chord forms as well. There's a lesson on the channel called The Easy Blues with Chord Inversions. Of course, nothing is really easy, but that's a good way to get into playing these across the neck as whole chord forms as well. So I'm going to play on this for a little bit over the E blues. So as you can see, I was playing those arpeggio forms and using the passing tones to connect the chords together, and connecting the chords together also chromatically with the guide tones. It's a great concept, and it works over a myriad of different songs, thousands, millions of songs. Make sure you learn how to do this across the entire guitar neck and all the different arpeggio positions, and then learn to do this in different keys as well. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. Plenty of lessons on their way. I'll catch you next time.